Hey, what has to happen in order for the current rally attempt to succeed and move to higher highs? We're going to cover that today and On the Radar. Hi, this is Dennis Wilbin, the Active Trend Trader. We're going to jump right into today's session. And if it's the first time you've joined us here on YouTube, please subscribe, hit the bell for be notified when we post additional training and tutorial videos. And so with no further ado, let's jump into today's session. There we go. So we're going to jump off and just take a look. We'll come back to this particular stock in a second. SPY, what are the spiders telling us? Here's one of the things that I have been looking for. Let me get rid of that box there. That's a fib box, if you're wondering. And it's based on both the time Fibonacci's and the price Fibonacci. And what it was doing is it was predicting out that we would hit a high somewhere between the green line and the purple line. And so the purple line is on actually on the 8th, which is tomorrow. So who knows? With that shooting star that we see in the session, we may have already gotten there. So what can we take away from today's signals on the SPY? Well, the S&P came up, broke through the moving averages. That's the 50, that's the 20, and that's the 34. The 8 is still down here. Let me open up my drawing tools, and we'll be able to see that a little bit better. Come on. There we go. Okay, and so basically prices opened about where they closed. Okay, not a real strong side. And what happened is we pushed on up, broke through this downtrend line, which is a positive, however, then closed in the bottom of the range. Now we have a very nice gap up here. Now that whole gap constitutes an area of support, with the middle section of that gap being the strongest level of support. Now, what's going to happen tomorrow? Of course, we definitely don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. However, what can we take away from the price action today to kind of go, okay, gap up was and move higher positive, in other words, bullish, although becoming a shooting star or almost a drag, it's almost a tombstone doji, except it's not really reversing a downtrend or an uptrend, excuse me. And so, but the sellers did come in to coincide with what? Anytime you see a level on one side, look to your left. And as you see, that's where the sellers came in before. That's where the sellers came in before. So there are still a bunch of people sitting there holding the S&Ps or the spiders that bought around that area there. It got close to the day they sold off. And so there's still, what that tells us is there's still overhead resistance and or overhead, some people call it overhead supply of sellers. And until those overhead supply of sellers is gone, we will continue to get these sell-offs like this. Now, how am I going to interpret this going into tomorrow? I know I've got good support down in this area, down in the 429 down to the 426 area. So any type of a rebound or a move back down there would be interesting. The one thing that is also interesting about this is we are still operating possibly in a channel. I can basically take this line there and let's duplicate that line. And let's pull it down here. As you can see, there gives us kind of an outline of where we could have a channel where prices could, in fact, go all the way back down to 421 to 422. Look to your left. That is a level where we bounced from before. So that's what we got going on for the S&P. NASDAQ had a really nice move this morning. However, it has put in a very similar, and I had projected up, and we called this out on the NASDAQ earlier this week. We said, basically on when we had this hammer last Friday, I said, look for the NASDAQ to pull up. It may go a little bit lower, but look for it to pull back up into the moving averages. If it stays below that downtrend line, watch for it to start to stall. I would call today's price action stalling. We got up, we hit the upward target, and then rolled over and started falling. If one bought down here when the TSI crossed to the upside, that's positive. Okay, momentum has shifted to the upside on this. What do we get now? Are we going to fall all the way back down here? How much is it going to, news is it going to be? If this is an important high, is it going to overshoot it and drop the same level that it dropped here? That is one of the things we'll have to wait and see. I would kind of like to see going into Friday, it come up and test into today's wick, the upper wick, and maybe get a little bit closer to the downtrend line, and then look to enter a position to the downside. That would be either buying SQQQ, which is the inverse ETF, or doing some kind of a bearish option trade on the Qs back down to the downside. If it breaks above and stays above the downtrend line, then all bets are off, and then we will probably be back into an uptrend that will then basically still has overhead resistance up here at this high, and then again up there as it approaches the all-time high for the year. So again, bearish indication. And the other thing that I always like to look at is what are the weekly charts telling us also. And since this is the week is not complete until tomorrow at the close, but my momentum on the weekly charts, the green line in particular, and the TSI is in fact pointed down. And price actions are below the 20-day, the 50-day, and the 34-day, where they crossed over to the downside. So again, I'll be watching this for a potential retest into that area there, or all the way up to this line, or the 50-day moving average. We may make it there or not, but that's what I'll be looking for. And that would be a good place to put in an alert right at the 50-day moving average. If it goes above, let's say the 366.50 level, that will tell us that we're breaking out above it. And then is it going to hold that breakout through the rest of the day? We'll see. Again, sellers came in at the moving averages, pushing the NASDAQ down. IWM, the Russell. Russell continues to be confined within its horizontal channel. Had a really nice move this morning, gapped up and jumped above the moving averages, but like the other indexes, with the long tail or long wick on top of the today's candlestick, we know that sellers came in to basically either, I won't say profit take, that is, the sellers came in and said, okay, you're not going to go any higher, pushed it down. Now, one of the things to take away from the IWM is that it actually is stronger than either the S&P and or the NASDAQ right now. And it has, the TSI has crossed to the upside. The market forecast green line has crossed to the upside here also. And on the weekly, we've been basically just driving sideways about the zero line on the market on the TSI, and just about the mid portion of the on the market forecast. It's still in a good position to break out higher, and so we have a series of higher lows, but not a series of higher highs. We need to take out that high right there. So there's another place. Put in an alert, like a nickel or even a penny above that high right there. That high there is 227.68. So put in an alert at 227.70. Prices move above that. It's telling us we're taking out a past high. And so then we go look at the charts. What do we want to do? Do we have a trade then, or can we define a setup? Whereas if the setup is fulfilled, we can put a conditional order in to buy at wholesale, so then we can turn around and sell at retail. That's the objective of what we're trying to do. Always look to buy your stocks and ETFs at wholesale and then sell at retail. So as I promised you, I've got some stocks to take a look at. What the heck did I do with them? There they are. I got 3 stocks that are kind of interesting in that they've been holding up well with the market doing its fluctuations and moves all over the place. And so let's take a look at these particular ones. Each one of them has been a leader in the IBD 50 and or the growth stock space. INMD. This is also a foreign entity. Took off very nice. I like, one, it just did a stock split, 2-for-1 stock split here. It did go into its post-split depression for a few days, but it looks like it's holding its own right there, about that level there. Now, I'm not sure I want to buy it right where it's at right now, but we did, in fact, get a really nice bullish Harami, followed by a bear bullish engulfing of the Harami, followed by a breakout today. But it, too, hit in this case, the 8-day moving average, and then fell back a little bit. TSI has not crossed over yet. Market forecast is still heading down. So with that being the case, if I were to plan a trade on this right now to buy it at wholesale, I would probably put in an order to buy somewhere around the 34-day moving average, or even these past lows right there. And then keep it small to maybe no more than a half position. And that's what I would do. The other thing on the IWM that is of interest is IWM does not have weekly options. And so, again, it's just something I would keep my eye on. But I like INMD. It has been a leader on the IBD 50 for weeks and still has great, it looks like it still has a good, strong base to work off. The other one, Taskus. It too is continuing to fall down a little bit. However, the reason I bring these up to your attention is that as the momentum falls, it's approaching an area where it should reverse. Now, are we going to take a trade on it before it reverses? Heavens no, because we just had it void a bullish engulfing pattern from yesterday. That's been voided. Look for a bounce, and I like it better if we get down to the bottom of the fib box. That in the fib box is a 38 by 68, 612 retracement. I like it at the lower portion of the fib box where it corresponds with what? That support, the past area of resistance / support here. We had a breakout from there. That's where buyers came in before. So we know that there's probably still buyers in that pocket, and it may take getting all the way down to there for the buyers to say, okay, this is where I want to buy it. Because if, not all the buyers got into it right here, so there's some still left down there. What's the price? Give me a price on that, Dennis. Okay, about $51. $51, I would put in a alert there. You could almost put in a conditional order to buy it at 51 with a really tight stop of, I would say no more than 5%. But I would want it to rebound. And that's one of the things we do as a specialty for our Autopilot trading members. Autopilot trading service is based on our active trend trading system that I've been working on for the last, 20 years. It's tested, it's proven, and it's focused on primarily helping you, trade your way to wealth and financial freedom. If it's something you want to find out about, just go on over and you can find it on our active trend trading website, and there's links down in the bottom of the for how to get there and how to find out about autopilot. Be links down in the comments section. So so the last stock I want to take a look at is, and again, let me take a real quick look at task. Yeah, also no weekly options on this one either. And the last one, this is another one that has been on the strong fundamental stock. Again, no, this one looks like it's going to start generating some weekly options in the future. Not any right now. But right now, it's going to just driving sideways. We've got kind of a, this is not a good cup and handle. This is a flawed cup and handle, if you look here. And what makes it flawed, you may ask, is we have the cup, and then we have the handle, okay? Well, what makes it flawed is the right side of the cup is above the left side of the cup. And so that makes it flawed, less likely to be successful. But the question we have to ask is, okay, we just came in and we've got support in this area. We've got a target up around there. Let's say, grab a better line. There we go. And get rid of this over here. Now the question is do we want to buy it now or wait? Well, one of the things I would be looking at doing is, you see the volume starting to pick up just a little bit, but it's still kind of low. So it may do another testing down here in this hammer that showed up yesterday. However, we did get a gap up, and so one could place a buy to buy it around the 34-day moving average. So somewhere about, let's say, $89 to $88.96. If it breaks the low of today's candlestick, or let's say drops below the 50-day moving average, keep it within 5%, is go ahead, and that would be our exit to get out of the trade. What kind of upside would this have on it? Excuse me. The upside is taking it from, you've got about 8%, 12% up to that level there, back up to the past highs. And then our next target after the past highs, of course, using the Fibonacci extension from there to there. So the next level would be about a 107 level. So you'd get about a 15 to 16% move up to the next targeted area. So again, ATKR, as you see on all three of those stocks, they're holding up better than the indexes, and that's what's important. So anyway, that's what we've got for you today, guys. And I'll basically just let me fade back in here a second. Hey, thanks for joining us and being a supportive, active trend trading person, supporting us on the YouTube channel. Again, as I said, if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, and go, yay, we like the On the Radar videos. And I really want to be there looking out for you, helping you find stocks that will, one, help you build your wealth and find financial freedom. So aloha until next time. God bless. See ya.